is Thursday, the 27th, I believe. A little bit early, but I'm up and ready to dive into some building today, so might as well get started. Let me go ahead and put my tweet up, or out, or whatever you call it. And just again, some reminders for those of you that are just getting into this. Today, I don't know exactly what time, but today is the last day to submit your pumpkins for the Carbine's pumpkin carving contest. That's both the virtual ones and the physical ones. You know, whichever one you decided to do. Today's the deadline. Again, I don't know the exact time. You'd have to look it up on the forums and stuff. But excited to see what folks came up with this year. I participated in it once, the first time they had it, but I just didn't have any ideas this year for what I might put out, so I've been kind of preoccupied with the housing stuff, so figured we'll just leave it to the experts. To that end, there is the housing competition, which I believe the deadline to enter that is the 30th of October. And you have to send in your screenshots for that. Like I said yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, according to the website news release, you're allowed 3 screenshots, but if you look in the rules for like EU specifically, it says 5. I don't know which is correct. It might be better to play it safe and just submit 3, but if you're not good at taking screenshots, since this is like the way that they're judging mostly is by the screenshots, find someone that does make some good ones and ask them to showcase your plot in a really positive light, and maybe that'll eke out a win for you. But both competitions have some nice prizes, even though the pumpkin carving contest isn't specifically housing related rewards. You do have a chance of obtaining a nice lump sum of Protobucks, which you could use to purchase that fancy decor stuff. We just had our spooky tours yesterday. I think it went really well. We had quite a few, a good mixed bag of new, old, incomplete, complete, different approaches to how one would set up a plot for Shades Eve / Halloween. So, but I would mention that if your plot was showcased and it wasn't finished at the time, and later you finish it, just give me a poke and we will be happy to retour it. It's not that I intend to put you on the spot by showcasing an incomplete work of yours. It's just I wanted to get it all together so that people that are like looking for specific themes, they can kind of catch it all in the one show, and then of course update it or add to it. I'm happy to show that at a later time. But also Monday, the 31st, we will be doing the Monster CBDC Showcase. That's the Custom Built Decor Challenge. It's something we do every month, and the theme changes from month to month, and this month's theme was monsters. So we have a wide selection of plots and projects to show you on Monday, including a couple of my own. So if you're interested in maybe getting some ideas for next year, or excuse me, want some ideas for something that finish off your plot for this year, feel free to drop by on Monday. We will be doing that. Now, I will say up front that tomorrow we will not be streaming. My husband actually tried to convince me not to stream today. but I told him I'd already said I was going to, and I didn't really want to cancel. Bad enough, I'm going to be canceling tomorrow, but as you may or may not know, I've been battling one illness after another, and right now I'm trying to fend off a cold, uh, lots of throat and sinus irritation and stuff. So I didn't get a very good night's sleep last night, and he wants me to kind of take it easy the next couple of days. Probably a good idea, especially since I definitely don't want to miss Monday. So in the spirit of trying to keep myself capable of streaming on Monday, I'm going to take off tomorrow and just have an extended 3-day weekend. Um, and of course, I'm going to keep things a little short today. So, uh, yeah, I just want to give you a heads up about that. So, I kind of showed most of this yesterday when we were looking at the spooky houses. We dropped by here for a little quick rundown of some of the things I've added, like the skeleton in the coffin there, and the dancing skeleton on the wall. Today, what we're going to do is the plan is I want to make 5 more dancing skeletons. I want them in different poses. The idea is I wanted to make the room, the party room, a little bit more lively. I guess that's kind of a funny pun, but I didn't want to put in a bunch of NPCs that are on the dance floor. I want to leave it open in the event that a group of players wanted to come and throw a little party themselves. They can use this room for their guild or troop event or whatever, and not feel like it's already overly crowded with NPCs. So the idea is I'm going to put these dancing skeletons on the wall so that, you know, like in a screenshot, it looks a little more active than it is with nothing in the middle. So we're going to be doing that. If we have time, we might get started on the final painting for the eating area. And if nothing else, I'll finish it off sometime before Monday. And then we'll call this room done. I will probably leave it up. I may leave it up indefinitely. I think the plan for Winterfest is I'm going to redo the Protostar Winterfest house, the little fab kit on this plot. Either that or I'll just pick an alt and do something on there, but I'm not sure how I'm going to approach it. Because once I finish decorating this, as you'll see, I'm pretty much at my limit of decor owned. I'm going to actually probably have to get rid of some things this morning just to be able to fit in the skeletons as it is. So it's going to be heartbreaking to get rid of some of this because there's a lot that I don't want to get rid of, but that's just how it goes when kind of limited. But it's getting to the point where I just can't work on my mains plot as much as I'd like. Like when Winterfest comes, I'd love to get out all of the Winterfest decor for the mall and decorate it with you know, appropriately themed accents. But I don't think that's going to be a possibility this year until I do some rearranging. That's one of the reasons why I'm thinking of just going ahead and removing the mall stuff upstairs and changing it up to something a little more, doing more like the micro plots that we've been doing, just kind of shrinking it down so that I can concentrate a little bit more on details better than having it all spread out. But that's another stream, another story. So first I'm going to explain what this particular skeleton is comprised of. You can kind of see he's a little odd looking from the side. Basically, I think it's 14 or 15 parts altogether. Because I wanted his body to be flexible enough that I could articulate him in different poses. So all of the different parts of his arm and his legs are all separate from the body. Same way with the head. It's actually separate from the chest piece. Um, Although I don't think he'll be very, I might be able to lean his head to the side a little bit, but just because of the way the item is placed, there's a little bit showing, it actually melds in with the chest piece, um, so you can't see that there's actually some extra bits hanging out from under his chin. What this is though, if you want to try and build your own, is basically just a bunch of these weighted funeral urns. These are available directly on the housing vendor, so and it's for a limited time. The last time, as soon as the event was over for Shades Eve, that and among other things are removed. So now's the opportunity to get a hold of those if you can, if you want them. Hey, Poi, good morning, and anyone else that happens to be lurking around. I don't mean to be rude or anything. I do appreciate you guys joining in, whether you chat or not. But all of his parts are from the same piece. It's all the urn. So the chest is basically, well, you can see how they're all interconnected. It's basically, let me just get one of these out so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the urn itself. So you can see it's basically a little, like the top half of the skeleton. He doesn't have his leg. He's got his arms across his chest, and then the handles. Well, the handles are what I'm using for the bones of the arms and the legs. It's just I have this set at different scale so that the leg bones look a little bit longer, bigger than the arm ones, just for proportion's sake. The hands and feet, basically it's just that the urn is turned just enough where you see the hand bones, but not entirely. And that's just mostly due to because of how they're positioned on the urn. Couldn't get them to quite show up with the entire hand and just the hand only. So I just pushed them in enough and pretending that it's proper looking. So it's not quite accurate, but the idea I think is there. So like I said, the arms and the leg bones are just the handle. It's just turned and tilted just enough so that just the handle shows. It just worked out that there's a bit of a gradient on it, and it has that little knuckle thing on the end. And I'm using that kind of to represent the joints, I guess. So it just kind of worked out nicely. But like I said, it's all the same piece. I kind of like doing that. Not only do you get to maintain the coloring stays consistent, it's not like for instance, I had actually, oh crud, trying to send that to Creighton, it doesn't do it. I had actually started to try other things for the bones. I checked out what like the Draken Pillar looked like. The reason I decided not to go with that one is one, it just didn't look like a bone to me. If you knocked it down to about the size that it needed to be, you can't really see the ends. It just looks like a stick. And I wanted something a little bit more, I know it's not like super, not a huge big difference, but it's pretty narrow. Both of them show up nicely from a distance. You can see the vase itself lasts a little longer, but the pillar works okay if you don't want to use the vases. Maybe you don't have the money and you have some spare pillars around. I also tried I think it was the Exile version because it's a little lighter on the ends to maybe make it like, again, the knuckle parts. But it still didn't look as light as I would have liked. You can see that the vase coloring is a little bit brighter white here than it is here, so I just preferred that. I also tried towels. The only reason I didn't go with these is one, it takes time to farm them up, and I didn't feel like messing with that. But they do work uh, somewhat nicely. They have a little bit of a variation in size, so it's kind of narrower in the middle and a little knobbier on the ends. And of course, they too don't do too bad with distance. They show up pretty good even at a smaller size. But like I said, it was just due to their inconvenient method of uh, obtaining them that changed my mind about it. But if you have a surplus of towels on hand and you have no other thing planned, um, you know, that's an option. Again, I'm planning on putting in 5 more of these, so multiply that by how many sections of feet and arms you need and everything, and that tells you why, another reason why I knew I had needed, like, I don't know, 40 something of those things, and I didn't want to spend the time gathering them up. I did that for the Valentine's plot a while back, and it was a pain in the rear, and I just didn't want to do that again. Um, Other things you might could try, again, if you don't mind it being more like a straight line, like a chalk line or something, you could use the edges of the uh, gear trophies. The same thing I use for the straight lines of the spider web. There's also the ice rock blocks. Those, however, at smaller sizes, they do disappear pretty quickly. So that was probably another reason why I didn't pick those. Anything else with a bit of a whitish appearance would probably work. But it just fit nicely that the urn itself is pretty easily, easy to get. It's right off of the vendor. It's relatively cheap, and I just decided that's what we were going to go with. So what I've done is I've linked all of these pieces together, and which reminds me, I showed you kind of what it looked like all together. You can see how it's just a bunch of vases clumped. It looks like quite a mess. That's the reason why I added curtaining to the back, to behind the coffin. That's to hide all of those extra vase bits that normally you would actually see. Um, you can see a little bit of them poking out. There's like just a whole mess of them sticking out, and I didn't want to leave that visible, so I just made up this little curtained area. I figured the blood red curtains would kind of make it look like, like I said, it would be a good place for someone to come and take a selfie for the party or something, instead of leaving him exposed. I very well could have pushed this up flat against the wall, but because the coffin itself is basically the same coloring as the wall, it kind of gets lost. So it even helps, again, that blood red kind of helps make the coffin pop a little bit better than leaving it just, black on black. So it all just kind of worked out. A lot of these things look like I've planned them that way, and it's not really that. It's just happy accidents. So what I've done is, after I linked it, I made a set of the skeleton and find him. And as I thought, it's 14 urn pieces. 14 pieces. So the trick for me is to make sure I've got plenty of room. Again, it's straight off of the vendor, so even if you don't have them in your your crate. One of the glories of Katya's add-on is when you go to buy something, or if you want to build a set, it will buy it for you straight off. So it's telling me I'm going to need about 9 gold. So, and that's, I have one of them already in the crate, so it's probably 10 gold or something altogether for a single skeleton, which isn't too bad considering it could be a lot more than that. So the thing I need to do is make sure I still have plenty of room for this. So let me get my handy dandy calculator out because I won't be able to figure this up on my own. If it's 14 pieces times 5, that's 70. I have 49.28 in the crate already. That will put me at 49.98 if I add all of the pieces in. Actually, probably 97 since I already have one of the urns in there. So I should be able to place all 5 extra skeletons without having to remove anything. But like I said, I still have the painting that I want to do. There's some other accents I'm going to add in. Thankfully, a lot of those are already in the crate, so it's not going to be a problem with that. But definitely the painting, if I use the vent tanks, I'm going to have to make room for those. So I guess I will be spending my time this weekend trying to figure out what I'm going to get rid of, which is sad, but just again a fact of life when it comes to building. So gonna get the add-on back up. Select the skeleton and there we go. So now we have a new skelly. I'm gonna bring him over here. I'm gonna put him sort of in the middle of this little section here. Now, if you don't want to go through the trouble of re-articulating these into a different position, perfectly fine to leave them all the same. It's no biggie. I just want to do, you know, play around with the positioning and make them look a little goofy. But to start with, I'm going to put them all as the same, just to get them into their spots first. So there's the 3 on this wall, and then I'm going to add 3 on this one here. Now the fun part is going to be trying to figure out how deep do I put it into the wall on the other side to get it to look the same as it is over here. First things first though, I have to bring it over. Doesn't that look like a jumbled mess? Oh gosh. So let's turn that around. Hey Faye, good morning. And now get to try and push it in so that it looks like the others. How's that look? It's pretty close. Not exact. His hands are a little bit different looking. Like he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the little pinkies way on the end. And this one's a little bit more. There's like some extra digits though. See if we can just a little bit. There we go. I think that's about the same now. So now that I have that one in position, well, let's move him more to the middle, I guess. I'll change the set to be a copy of him so I don't have to rotate again. So I'll just select it. I'm going to clear this one, add the link set. I'm going to double check, make sure I got room here. So now we have partners on this side. Fingers crossed I didn't miscount. Yep, 49.97. So, oh, so sad. Okay, now, what I did for the skeleton pose is I just Googled up dancing skeleton. You could probably look at maybe skeleton poses or anything, but what I was looking for was a cartoony version of the skeleton in different poses. The one that I actually used for this particular pose was just by himself, but I Googled this morning trying to find some different poses that we can try to see if it'll look okay. And I found one that actually has, some of them look like a little Egyptian poses. It's got like the hands kind of funky and the leg kicked up. And others I think maybe are specific dance poses. I really can't tell, but there's like even one upside down where he looks like he's spinning on his head. So we're going to try a few of them. And again, since I've got 6 skeletons, I want 6 different poses. So we're just going to start with one here and see if we can do it a little different. So what's handy is even if I reposition the arms and legs, they'll remain connected to the body, so it should be pretty easy. So I'm going to look at this one and see if we can turn this a little bit. Now, I know I could probably just do this freehand, sort of, just out of my own head, but I prefer having a kind of a reference because I don't want it to look like maybe his arm is like broken and facing the wrong way, that kind of stuff. So I figure it's helpful to have something to look at. Again, apologies if I sound a little funny. Again, I'm munching on a cough drop to try and keep from coughing because usually when I talk a lot, that aggravates it. So now I could probably link the hand up to the little arm part, but I'm just preferring to move the pieces individually. Almost already where it needs to be, but I'm just going to adjust it just a little bit. Make sure I stay looking at the same skeleton, otherwise it's going to look a little weird. Yes. May have to actually unlink this a little bit because I want to turn this just slightly. You can see what I mean by the head. A little different. It's just a little bit more. Probably should have moved the body first. Okay, and then there's this last leg. Oh, he looks really weird. So just to be on the safe side, I'm going to go ahead and relink these up to the chest piece. That way, if after you re-articulate him, you decide you need to recenter him again, you can do that without worrying about pulling the pieces apart. Okay, so I think he's all back together now. I don't know what exactly he's doing, like picking up with one way or something. Okay, so for this one, I think we'll go with the leg kicking the other way. Found one that looks a little about the same, so it looks like I can leave the chest and body the same. I just need to redo the arms and stuff, so this should be Again, when it comes to housing, a lot of it is just having the patience to sit there and fiddle with these things piece by piece. Because once you kind of already have an idea, or you or whatever, it's really easy to just kind of change it up a little bit. It's just time consuming. That's why I know a lot of people like to pay for commissions because they just don't have the time that they would need to dedicate to trying out these different poses and things. Probably not exactly anatomically correct here, but speaking of commissions, I did want to remember to mention this. I had someone contact me on Twitter by the name of Bree. Um, she's on NA side, and she's looking for an NA builder that's willing to be commissioned for a work. I guess she's been looking at some of the videos and is really impressed with all of the houses that we've been touring and such. And so I think she's interested in getting someone to hire. She didn't mention any prices or anything, or what exactly kind of, the kind of project she's looking to have the builder work on. But if you think you or someone you know might be interested in helping her out, just reach out to me and I can hand you over her Twitter handle, or you can just kind of look through my replies and you'll see it's well, Bree's all I can think of, but yeah, I'll probably retweet it again as well to see if anybody's interested. I myself, I've had several people ask if I would do some commission work, and I don't know, I just hesitate to do that because I don't want to disappoint them. That one's just a little weird looking to me, but I don't know what he's doing with this arm. It's like a little odd looking, but it's different from the others, and that's what we want, so we'll leave them like that. But I kind of like the sameness that they're both have a leg hiked up, but it's in opposite directions. Yet it's not the same pose. It's not a mirrored pose. Do any of you guys actually do commission work? I know there's some builders that do that, but I don't know if any of you that actually come and visit have engaged in that kind of deal and how complicated it could be. Maybe you have trouble setting a pre-arranged agreement on like pricing. I know there was one player, I think it was earlier on, though I don't even know if they still play, but they had like a whole little, like a write-up of equivalents of like if they spend renown purchasing some renown type of things from the housing vendor, X amount of renown, like 25,000 renown was like worth or equivalent to one plat or something like that. I don't know if that was the exact numbers they were using, but that's, just an example. And then they had different pricing for like if they did an interior build, like for like, I guess in a prefab home situation, or exterior, like if they're doing landscaping, it was a different price. Just different things like that. And I'm sure they had a whole section for like time that they input and that kind of thing. So I thought that was interesting. To me, I think it would be hard to put a price tag on that kind of stuff because, every project's different, but, maybe some themes or what are easier to come up with ideas for specific, I don't know, elements of that particular theme. If you're thinking pirate theme, you can think, okay, you need a ship, um, uh, a raft, or maybe a hideout, but maybe for some other kind of a theme, you might have trouble thinking up enough kind of elements. I really don't know. Most of the things I do for other people are like either exchanges where I do something for them and then they make something for me, or I just do it out of, you know, the want to do it, and either they're a friend or former guildmate or something like that, and I do it that way. Okay, so let's make this middle one the one that's upside down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this all together first. And is pretty much just straight up and down for the head and the torso part. So again, it's just the arms that I'm going to be readjusting here. Got to have it so that the hands are kind of level with the bottom of his head. It's supposed to be like he's holding himself up. So I got to position it just right. And so I want it about the same on the other side. And then change up the legs a little bit. This is so funny. But odd, but no going around that. It's just because of the shape of the foot that I made. It's supposed to be where his foot's like pointed down, but it doesn't quite have that look. Something like that. Okay, and then let's see a different one here. Let's try this one. Again, the head and everything is pretty much the same. That, and then little knock-kneed bit going on here. Like so. There's that one. One more. Gotta come up with another pose here. Some of these I don't want to use because they have the head turned sideways, and I can't really do that with this because I think it'll look a little weird. But I'll go ahead and do this one without turning the head, even though it probably really should be turned. And we'll see how it looks. Okay, how's it placed? Excuse me. Make sure my sound is still on. Yeah. Don't want to cough it into submission there. Like kicking with the one. Ugh, Jade trap thing is so annoying. That completely. And then the other one, almost like what it is now. Very annoying. Okay, so there we have the 6 different poses. I don't think it came out too badly. They're different enough where they kind of, what I should do is change up the head positions a little bit. I wonder if I can make this one slant this way here. A little bit. And this one that way. Okay, it just gives a little, so they're not all the same as far as the head goes. Okay, so one thing checked off the list to do. I don't think I have any plans to add any more to the DJ area. I think it's fine as it is. I'm not entirely happy with um, the flames and stuff, but I really can't think of anything different to do, so I'm just going to leave it be. Um, as far as what we might do for the final painting, I'm still undecided, so I don't think I'll be starting that this morning. I was thinking of some kind of something for here. I don't know if it feels like it's too empty. Um, I had actually intended to put an extra table and chair set here, but I ran out of the headstones. I guess I miscounted and don't have enough for those, and I don't really want to buy another pack of them, so I don't know what I might put there as well, but it feels like it's missing something. Um, I had thought about maybe making some kind of a different floor design here, but I didn't want to make it too busy because there's already a lot going on here. Plus the fact that I'm pretty much almost at my limit as far as what I can squeeze in decor wise. Because like I said, there's still most of the stuff that's in the crate now I don't really want to get rid of. There's a few things like the backpacks I could probably get rid of. Um, uh, I know like I have a ton of these fancy bow ties in here, but I also hesitate to get rid of them because I think like the bubbling jar I could get rid of. I could probably easily reobtain it if I need it later. But like things like the bow ties and stuff that you just don't come across all that regularly, or usually they're kind of expensive. I don't want to get rid of those if I can. So I'll go through this weekend and weed out some stuff, and I may even go ahead and finish up the painting and stuff, but I will definitely share that with you guys next week. But I think we're going to go ahead and call it today, mostly because I can feel that my throat is getting really, really sore right now, and I'm sure it's the talking that's aggravating it. So I know it's short but sweet, hopefully. Give you some more ideas for if you're doing some last minute touch-ups on your Shade Z plot for the competition or whatever. I know people often want to kind of hide what they're working on because they don't want other people to steal their ideas. But for mine, it's kind of, I guess, to be expected if people are going to kind of take some of these ideas and use them on their own. Because obviously, I'm sharing how I make them and all of that stuff. And it's not like I can copyright it or anything. So if you decide you want to do some skeletons like this, now you know how to do it, what items you could use, and hopefully that helps you out. I myself won't be entering the competition, mostly because of the trademark thing. Well, not mostly, because one of the reasons is because of the trademark thing. There is some issue with using the Frankenstein and Frankenstein's Bride. That's kind of a what do you call it? Trademark. What's the other word? I can't think of the other word. But well, the story itself of Frankenstein isn't. You can kind of make your own. Mine are actually kind of very familiar looking, based on the Universal films. Um, so I don't want to give Carbine any issues with having someone fuss that actually that's trademark or copyright. That's the word I was looking for. Copyrighted or whatever. Um, Plus the fact that mine is just this one little room. I would much prefer the prizes go to those that have done a full plot kind of thing where they have really gone above and beyond. My stuff is more just kind of like little bits and bobs of various things, just ideas. It's not like I'm in it for the prizes. I'm in it for the fun of building. So I just prefer that someone else get that attention. But again, if you are participating in the competition, I wish you much luck. I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone has put together and created, and I'm excited that they're having these kind of competitions, even if I don't actually participate them in myself. I hope I wish or hope that they would like to, um, hold more of these competitions, but I fear it's going to be that once a year kind of thing. But they could do that with, all the holidays, like the Winterfest. They could have one for that. They could have one for Easter. They could have one for Valentine's Day, or just make up one and do like like with Black Dagger Society, just having an open theme so that you can submit anything. I know they're limited, that they can't do ones like, that are showcasing other game themes like World of Warcraft or Bioshock or anything like that. But there's a lot of nondescript type of builds out there that are just straight from the builder's imagination that would be completely incredible that they would get some recognition, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, uh, just keep that in mind when you build and you're hoping to get some attention from Carbine. WildStar itself, make it non specific as far as it's just that it's easier, I guess, to base it off of something because you have a point of reference, details that specifically people will be looking for, that kind of thing. So I don't know. It's more fun to do those, I think, sometimes, but it's also comes with its own set of uh, issues. So anywho, good luck to you guys. Again, I will be streaming tomorrow. I'm going to take an extra little break I know I've been doing that a lot lately. It's just this has been a really rough year with the sickies, and I do apologize for that. But we will hang in there, and if nothing else, I guarantee that I will be on my deathbed, but I will be still here uh, doing the tours and the showcases, if nothing else. But I will do my best to stream as much as I can physically, comfortably, possibly do. So in the meantime, good luck with your projects. Um, Hope this gives you some ideas of things to try out. Even again, even if you're not doing a Shades Eve plot, maybe these little silhouette type of paintings might pique your interest. We've done some of that in the past similarly, and I've seen some other builders kind of take up that call and come up with some really fantastic little portraits of stuff. Um, so to see more people do that would be just great. Um, but yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Sure and drop by the 31st for that Monster CBDC showcase. Super excited about seeing all of those builds. Until then, have a great weekend, you guys, and see you later. Bye-bye.